Hey there, boys and girls. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollow Weekly. This is actually a bonus episode, right?
Special edition.
Special edition. And we have to do this because it's Sam Raimi. And with that, you already know what it is. Doctor Strange 2. We're not like the biggest Marvel people. We're not gonna dive into all the Easter eggs and books and spells and all this other stuff. This is purely just Sam Raimi's in it, Bruce Campbell's in it, or for a little bit. So we're gonna watch it.
Well, and also, it was if Marvel is gonna do stuff that is gonna get the horror fans' attention visually or thematically or whatever, you would imagine this is one of the places it's going to happen.
Yes.
Right? In this movie. And it did. I thought that would be hype, but man, right when the end sequence started kicking in, I was like, I'll be damned. I'm proud of Sam.
This was pretty good. So for those of you who don't know, this is the sequel to Doctor Strange. You don't really have to watch the first one. I didn't. I mean, and you understood it quite well. Totally. At this point, all the Marvel.
Even know there was a first one.
At this point, all the Marvel characters are mostly pretty much known.
I'm assuming everyone has a tragic backstory that prevents them from having a healthy relationship in the current day.
Yes, and you'll never guess what the plot synopsis of this is.
What's weird is we just recorded a previous episode for a movie that it was hard to synopsis. This one I felt like, because the multiverse thing should be harder, and it sounds like you've got a really easy synopsis.
I'll do it. Dr. Stephen Strange casts a forbidden spell that opens up a portal to the multiverse. However, a threat emerges that may be too big for his team to handle.
Oh my god, that was so easy.
It makes sense.
Episode over.
Yeah.
Great job.
Superhero meets supervillain.
Yes.
Are they gonna survive?
Yes. But what did you think? How did this go with your expectations? What stood out to you?
Well, a lot of my friends who are big, comic nerds, they love all of it. They weren't. This movie didn't really knock their socks off.
Okay.
And
were they big? Was Doctor Strange a big deal at the time?
Maybe not really. No, not even with the first one. It was. I think they enjoyed it. I think they liked it. But their reaction to this one was, I can see why this isn't the best one. Okay. Or they thought it was just okay. So when I told them today that
interesting,
I really liked it, they were actually kind of surprised.
Interesting.
Yeah, which.
So is it a Doctor Strange problem or is it a other problem?
Maybe,
so because Thor started weak, I remember, at least in terms of fan reaction, and then the franchise
was just okay, and then the second one
got strong, right?
Yeah, well, it started. It was okay, and then the second one was pretty bad,
terrible,
and then Ragnarok was really good, and
right.
And then so
then people got really hopeful about the Thor branch of the Marvel thing, right?
Yeah.
So then Doctor Strange comes out. So Doctor Strange better or worse than Ragnarok to most people?
I would say, according to my friends,
yes.
I would say slightly worse.
Doctor Strange worse than Ragnarok.
Okay,
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
The weird thing.
So they didn't have a lot of expectations for this movie.
They kind of did though, because this movie, because of Sam Raimi. Well, for us it was Sam Raimi, but for them it was because this was picking up where WandaVision left off.
Oh, good point. Yeah, which is a big deal.
Yeah, which was a big deal because everyone loves the Scarlet Witch now for all for all the right reasons.
Well, and also everyone knows it's not so much a Marvel problem. Obviously, this was, I don't know, maybe it is a Marvel problem. I don't know. Isn't there a villain problem?
Marvel's always kind of had that villain, and that's the thing is after Thanos, you have the big bad. Pause real quick. Can you move that?
Oh shit! Yeah.
That is going to get. Just set it. You could just set it over here. Daisy is definitely. I was looking at it and I saw her get up there. I was like, she is gonna knock that cup right over. She was like, she had that Henri.
Lou does the same thing. He drinks out of it. He won't knock it over.
Daisy, if it makes a noise, she will. Well, we went to bed the other night, and apparently Daisy has a toy that looks like a pear with a ball that rattles in it. And one night, Alex and I were trying to go to bed early. This was a couple days ago. We were trying to go to bed early, and Daisy brought out the most noisiest fucking toy she never plays with. But that night we were trying to go to bed, and she was like Cirque du Soleil, she was just whapping it across the thing.
No.
Okay, so getting back into it. So this picks up where WandaVision picked up, which a lot of people really liked. My friends really liked it. I even liked WandaVision.
Yeah, of course.
I didn't watch any of the other Marvel shows. I didn't watch Hawkeye. I didn't watch Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Right.
Didn't watch Loki. I tried watching Loki, but I just can't really get into them.
But we all knew Scarlet Witch was a great villain.
Yeah, and everyone likes Scarlet Witch. Everyone loves Elizabeth Olsen.
Totally.
She's pretty cool.
And rightfully so. She was amazing.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about the one horror movie she was in back in like 2010, where they did the whole like it was done in one shot. Remember that movie? It was like a house haunted house.
I'm sure
movie.
I know what it is. I just can't think of it.
But of course, it's not shot in one thing. They just edited it to make it look like it's in one shot. So the expectations were kind of high because of Scarlet Witch.
Yes.
Which I thought they did a great job at making her terrifying.
Totally.
And scary and powerful.
Totally. I didn't think at first. I felt like it started a little weak to me where she looked a little plain and it was just basically like evil tiara and a lot of staring, right? And then something shifted and I realized that Raimi was laddering her up and that she was getting more like manically evil.
Yeah.
Like in D&D terms, she was like lawful evil and then she turned chaotic evil and she got terrifying, which was totally agree.
There's just a lot of like the same Raimi staples in here, like a lot of like the Dutch angle, chop zoom kind of stuff that like it totally works in a Doctor Strange movie. I thought.
Yeah, it's meant for that.
The other thing I really liked about this was the introduction of, and I'm not familiar with America Chavez at all. Like in fact, I had to have a friend like explain to me like what exactly like before the movie. I was like, so what exactly she does?
Right.
She was like, she can travel through parallel universes, and I was like, that's pretty fucking cool.
Right.
I thought
it's everything ever all at once, right? It's the same.
Well, that's the other thing that was weird about this movie is it came out same time as Everything Everywhere All at Once.
But that's the same plot device, right? A person who's kind of like the pinhole through
like there's like
folds.
anytime you have like the multiverse kind of thing, there's always like that one person who's trying to do something within it and it's gonna collapse a bunch of other stuff or make it terrible or you control the whole thing.
Totally.
Yada yada yada. But I think overall this movie, where do I rank it with Ragnarok? You said it and I'm kind of like, where do I put it?
What, this movie?
Yeah.
Oh, way better.
Really way better than Thor Ragnarok.
Totally.
I think it was a little bit better than Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, I can see. It's strange. I'm sitting in the same place that you are without the friends and the Marvel context or whatever, but I kind of had the same feeling. I could understand the other side. So this is the kind of movie where if this movie was on trial and then I was going about my day and the news broke and it said the jury found this movie guilty of being, slightly underwhelming, I'd be like, yeah, I get the jury. I can see how you get a jury. I can see how a jury would see that, right? I just don't agree. I would have been the holdout. I would have been 12 Angry Men.
You would have been
back there for this movie, just because I think it's not. There's flaws and there's stuff that was dumb and whatever. But the thing is, it felt grounded weirdly in a way that I haven't felt Marvel movies feel in a while. Grounded, where I felt like I was watching Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Feeling, and I had missed that, and I liked this version of it, kind of the glossed up, version of whatever, and for all kinds of other reasons. But I think there's really fun, cool stuff in here that was exciting and energizing, and I hadn't felt excited or energized by the last couple of Marvel things I'd seen. So
you know what I think that is because like I've seen like a lot of the of the Marvel stuff, aside from like the Disney Plus shows, which I think a lot of people kind of agree, especially with The Boys being out for Amazon and Stranger Things just coming out. Like, not that they're the same thing, adding Stranger Things in there, but people are saying like there is like sort of this like there's something lacking in these like DC Marvel-esque shows.
Right, totally. It's what happens to everything when it was the premium thing, and all of a sudden the peak storytelling was The Wire, and now if you look at The Wire, you're like, wow, that looks a little flat.
Yeah, there's something a little flat about them.
People are moving past Marvel.
But Doctor Strange didn't have that. Like it was able to stand alone. And the thing is what I was getting at was that Doctor Strange is fun to root for. Mm-hmm. When you watch like Endgame, you kind of have the ensemble and it gets the big bag, so it's kind of easy. But like when it's kind of like a singular thing, like Thor Ragnarok was great because of like just kind of how funny it was.
Yes.
Like it was kind of like an unusual break from the other movies.
Totally.
So
it was like a riff.
yeah, it was really colorful, it was really different, it was really funny, and so like
Yep.
that made it enjoyable. But like Thor himself, like I don't know if like I really care for.
Right.
But like Doctor Strange is a fun dude to root for
Yes.
because he has so many like weird tools, and just the visuals of it
Yep.
is really great.
And he's kind of, it feels to me in a way that a lot of the other solo Marvel characters aren't, because they're either ensembles or solo. I feel like Doctor Strange, and remember, I'm a total Marvel novice, like whatever, so I could be saying the stupidest thing ever, but he feels more in a partnership than the other ones. Because I feel like he's part of this sorcerer structure, and the other sorcerer always shows up, and like whatever, and he's always bouncing off another character, trying to facilitate what they're
Yeah.
doing, or protect them from what's happening with what they're doing, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, he's got this partnership dynamic built into how he operates that I don't feel like a lot of the other ones have, and I find it interesting.
And even like the like the combat or like the fight scenes, whatever you want to call it, because a lot of it's just usually like throwing someone through a portal or like doing some weird thing.
Right.
But it's a nice break from just like your brute strength muscle fighting muscle. Like
Yep.
there's like this kind of like chess broad thinking kind of
Totally.
like approach to it. I mean, there are things where he's throwing a razor at a giant eye tentacle thing. There is that,
Right.
but there's also more to it than that that you don't get with a lot of the other kind of superhero, like Captain America. He's just going to try to punch you and throw shields at you until you stop doing whatever you're doing. You know what I mean? Like Doctor Strange has to be a little more articulate in his way, which is just interesting and fun to watch. Plus, Benedict Cumberbatch is just great.
Right. And he has some anti-hero built into him the right way. It's not overdone. We all know how this works. So they didn't Morbius it or whatever, try to make him too dark. But he
Right.
does have an edge and a threat built into what he's about.
And a gamble to the threat. So,
Yes.
like, with Thor...
That's a great way to put it.
With Thor, like, he just has to go into, someplace, fight someone, whatever. Captain America has to go someplace, fight him. Iron Man has to go someplace to fight him. Like,
Right.
he has to take, like, a calculated risk because the things that he might do might not work out the way he wants it to, even if
Right.
he's successful.
Right.
Even if he's right, he could fuck up 1,000 other things.
Totally. And also, so there's a thing that happens with him, this character that I notice that you don't see with some of the other characters, where he kind of does post exposition. So he's explained to you why something was interesting or funny or whatever that you might have missed, right? But it's so easy for him because he's so smart and he's written that way, right? So it gives you that BBC Dracula vibe or whatever. But there's this great the dynamic of watching Doctor Strange's character figure out what Scarlet Witch means by saying, while she's basically annihilating everything in her path, that she's still being very reasonable, that how effortlessly he figured it out. It was like watching one of those nature documentaries where the gazelles go up the impossibly steep hill. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
his brain is just doing that, right? And then he'll say something out loud about it. And in the other movies, they have to do it with physical business, with like a body language thing, because their character would never articulate that.
Right.
The Hulk's not going to bust that out on you, So, but he will. So it's kind of nice to not have to verbalize it for yourself all the time with like you do with the other characters. Doctor Strange will just do it for you.
Yeah. What do you think of the multiverse aspect of like them going
I
to
didn't
different
care. Who
places?
cared? It was an excuse to splash people through paint universes.
I know you latched on to that paint universe. Like there's for those of you who haven't seen it, there's one point Doctor Strange grabs America Chavez and they go through like it's basically them showing you how many other multiverses there are, and like there was a cartoon one, there was this, that, the other, futuristic one, blah 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 blah, cartoon one, but then there was one where it was just paint.
Yep, totally.
It was so unsettling for some reason.
Totally.
But like it made sense.
But like, this is, by the time Hollywood gets to the multiverse idea, it's basically like, LOL or whatever the most dated thing is now. Like, it's already, the multiverse is already in the rearview mirror as an interesting idea.
Yeah.
It's just like dinosaurs going nuts and their DNA getting out of hand. That's old.
Yeah.
Now, you know what I mean? Like, the multiverse part feels almost like not the interesting part at all. I know it was in the title.
I feel like they used the multiverse thing as like a reset, like a halftime adjustments. They're like, okay, it's like where did we fuck up?
Well, here's the
that we
thing,
can
and here's
fix
what I
now?
really liked about it. Like, so everything, everywhere, and whatever, and all like the other movies that are dealing with multiverse and fucking Tenet and all that stuff, Interstellar and all this crap. I don't mean crap, but like this notion,
Right.
this notion that's being, like whatever, like Dunkirk has to like Pulp Fiction time jump because we can't do a war movie straight.
Right.
Like it feels like that is almost a character in those movies. It's that important, and it's in the name here. And I was watching this movie, and I felt like it was the least important part. I felt like the important
agree.
part was the parent grief, the hanging on to a self-deluded fantasy that she built for herself that's powering her whole villainy. And there's this heartbreaking moment because her catchphrase is, "I'm not a monster, I'm a mother." And she can't say it when she has the realization at the end of the movie that she's not a mother, and she plays it just right. And she's like, "I'm not a monster, and then she just blanks because she's not a mother.
Right.
Right. And that is way better than whatever the multiverse shit was going on. The visuals were cool, but I didn't feel like it played an important part. It played part for the plot to get people places. Spider-Man, like the multiverse shit, like in there, that was so integral to how polished and interesting that movie was. It was like a finely, tuned puzzle. The Spider-Man, whatever that, into the what Going Home or whatever that.
Yeah,
movie was
it's so
called.
funny. There's so many movies now. I was
The
like,
Multiverse Spider-Man.
I knew which one you're talking
Right.
about, but when I was like, "What's the title of it?" And I was like, "No, the multiverse one. Like that's Spider Verse.
Home,
That's
Can't Go Home,
that's the can't go
No Way
home.
Home.
No way home.
No, right. But No Way Home doesn't have multiverse in the title, but I felt like multiverse was way more important in that movie. It was
Yes.
giving you characters that were tripling and whatever. In this one, it was only an excuse for Sam Raimi to do crazy visuals.
Yeah.
I felt like it was just his excuse to play, but the plot was really grief and loss and how terrifying Death Strange.
Death Strange.
Right.
I mean,
can we talk about Death Strange? Because
that
Death
was
Strange
the-
I expected that not to work because every time they do all the arms and the legs or something, it's always like just it looks so unreal or CGI
Yeah.
or whatever. It's just and it was so
well,
well
that was the other
done.
thing. So I didn't watch, and if there was a Disney Plus original I was gonna watch, it would probably be the Marvel What If, because it's just like a bunch of short stories,
Yes.
and it's like, what if T'Challa from the Black Panther was Captain America or something, like that kind of shit. And one of them has zombie Doctor Strange, and so
I remember you said that once.
and so a lot of people were thinking like, oh, maybe this is like zombie Doctor Strange, and like he's from a bad parallel universe. But it turns out it's just like the rotted corpse of another Doctor Strange was brought into his Earth.
Right.
And that line that they used to kick off was like, it just has to be the body.
Yep.
And then you were like, oh,
No, yeah, Benedict was so perfect, was it? Because he might even wink. It was so sly, but it was the dream walking, and he's
Yeah.
like dream walking, but there's no you there. The you there is dead. Like, or I forget how the character
something
did
like
it.
that, yeah.
And he turns, he's like, no one said anything about them having to be alive, and it was so good.
And then it does like the typical, like that's where like the Sam Raimi shit just like shines, like the hand like shoots up and like typical like creep show esque
Yep.
kind of like zombie stuff, and his face looked great. I think I could be wrong, but I think Alex was getting a little grossed out because like part of his cheek is just gone.
Yeah, he was talking serious lines, but it was hard to take seriously.
But it looked great. It
great.
looked really really.
But
good.
it was it was the aura around him. It was all the spirits and the notion of that, using the spirits as kind of like the weapon and the cloak.
Yeah, because
you
at
know?
first they were trying to take him, like they were like strange and blah blah blah, doing like it sounded like it kind of like. It gave me like Drag Me to Hell vibes, like the way the dead spirits were talking to him. And I was like, Sam Raimi, please, just come back. Just please. What
Right?
do we have to do? But then when they used him, like Alex kept calling, we don't know what, like I'm sure like someone who's more, into like Doctor Strange in the comics knows like what that's called, but like the death cape, like
Yeah.
the cape of all like
Yep.
the damn souls was like
Incredible.
one of the most metal fucking things. Like there's so much metal imagery now. Like you have like Eddie playing Master of Puppets and Stranger Things.
That's right.
And then you have fucking Doctor Strange with like cloak of like damned souls.
Amazing.
Like it's so
And
great.
you know what's really interesting is, I think a lot of people are waking up, ironic given the title, to the fact that Doctor Sleep was an undercover masterpiece that slipped by a lot of people.
I've been
didn't
seeing a
notice,
lot
right?
of TikToks championing that
It's
movie.
really starting to come around that that that's true, but for all of the things that I really loved about that movie, one of the things that I thought was sort of a fail was the reveal of the Overlook spirits when they attacked Rose the Hat, when they were unleashed. Mm-hmm. There's a great moment when Ewan McGregor tells her, "You don't know where you're standing," and all that's chilling and the architecture's chilling. But the ghost reveal felt like a little weak. What the Death Strange cloak was what I wanted the Overlook spirit attack to feel like.
Yeah.
When they turned the Overlook spirits on Rose the Hat, I wanted it to be what happened when he sent this shroud at the Scarlet Witch.
Because those souls or whatever, they were able to hold Scarlet Witch down for like quite a long time.
Yeah, she was suffering.
Yeah, and right. She's, I don't know like how it stacks in like the movies, but like in the comic books, she's like
virtually omnipotent.
Yeah, she's like one of like the the high ranking. I'm sure someone's gonna pull out the comment. Actually,
there's 10 other beings.
There's 10 other beings. But she's always one of those dudes you don't want to fuck with.
Totally.
Yeah,
and remains so. It's still terrifying.
Bruce Campbell, we got to talk about Bruce Campbell real quick. I mean, it's a very brief cameo, but he's like selling the pizza balls, and his
character name is perfect for him. I knew they nailed it when they said he was Pizza Papa or
Pizza Papa,
Big Pizza Papa or whatever the hell his name was. But as soon as they said it, and I knew it was Bruce Campbell's character, and they said the name, I'm like, they're gonna do this just right, and they did.
Yeah,
everything he did was very Pizza Papa-y.
And he was doing the physical comedy, almost evil that too. And did you see he alluded to doing like the hand front flip thing? Mm-hmm. Like he like his hand grabs his hair. And you're like, oh, he's gonna do the evil thing, but then you're like, he's like 60, 70 years old. He's not gonna. So he didn't do it. But the fact that you got to see some of that old school Bruce Campbell, like slapstick kind of comedy shit was really nice.
I mean, I was happy. To be honest with you, I was happy with all of it, and even more remarkably, when you think of. So, for example, I think that I found Army of the Dead pretty enjoyable, right?
Yeah, someone in the Hollow Weekly group, if you're not in there, join it.
Yes.
R.C. Martin was watching, and someone said it was a chore to get through. And, I can totally see that.
Yeah.
But I agree with what you said.
Jury fan.
But it also, wasn't, bad.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. I had fun watching it for what it was worth, whatever. But I'll be damned if I could tell you anything that happened in the end concerning the plot. Like, they got away from the city, something blew up. I don't know why they were trying to get there. I don't know who put the nuclear stuff there. Mm-hmm. I don't know who was running it. I don't even remember who the villains were. I just remember it was kind of fun. There was a zombie tiger, whatever, right? The way, because that's how these things usually go, right? Who cares how Halloween Kills ended? I don't remember how Halloween Kills ended. I don't know. Whatever, but this movie, it was pretty emotionally resonant how the villain went down, what happened to her, how she was buried and contained, whatever, and why it went the way it went, and kind of how she acted it, the words she was saying, whatever. I'm going to remember all of that. And you don't, that's not, it felt like, I know it's self-referential, but it felt like, you can hit a magic thing with a villain and then you just remember the villain forever. And William Dafoe Green Goblin
right
was like that. And now Scarlet Witch is like that to me. And the villain a lot of times doesn't stand out, but not only was it good, but I loved how it ended and I liked the emotion behind it and the visuals were cool and the action was great. So I love it.
And then I think the last thing we got to end on is the Illuminati. Because that was a big, and I think Sam Raimi came out and said it was fan service because the internet for some reason really wants, who's he married to? A Quiet Place.
Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt. They really want those two to be Mr. and Mrs. Fantastic.
Okay.
And I think there was an article that came out where Sam Raimi was like, yeah, it was pretty much fan service. So
sure.
Fans could shut the fuck up about it because they're tired of hearing it.
Good move.
How busted was that Illuminati? They went down so fast. That was unreal. That was
pretty sad.
It was kind of cool. I will say this though. It was kind of neat to see a member of the Fantastic Four and to hear them say that because I've never even watched the original Fantastic Fours.
Yeah.
Because they were they can't.
I wouldn't want this movie without that. I get that it's a little corny, but I wouldn't take it out. It's not like The Departed rat.
No. And no, I don't think it's anywhere near that. I think you needed to have a scene like that because if you're going to do the multiverse shit, you should be able to, it should be like Play-Doh. You should be able to just mash shit together.
I agree with you. It's not great. Around. I didn't enjoy the Reed Richards or any of that crap. I thought that kind of took me out of the movie.
It was actually after, so it was a big reveal.
Because they were revealed like he's the smartest man who ever lived, and then the very first words out of his mouth that I remember is he asked the dumbest question. Like the whole audience knew what was happening. He was like, "What's going on around here?" I'm like, "That's world's smartest man out, already out the window."
Dingus alert. But when when it was like revealed. And like, you know, screenshots were leaking on Twitter and stuff like that. Like it was like kind of like a big deal. And, you know, of course, like, you know, Professor Xavier's back. And when he came out, they played the music from the 97 X-Men cartoon, which was like the cartoon I remember watching. And so like that was like kind of cool. But honestly, like that was probably one of my least favorite parts of the whole movie. I thought that was going to be the highlight. I thought that was going to be like the big moment where
that's what I'm telling you is I think in retrospect, I wouldn't take it out. I like that it's there, but like if I bought like a Blu-ray of this and that part was missing, okay.
Yeah, I mean that part to me, that part was just to show you how strong Scarlet Witch was, that she could take out like multiverse's version of the heroes who saved them from Thanos.
Totally.
But like,
and Sam Raimi just likes to kill people in interesting ways, so he wanted to like, you know, shred Reed.
Yeah, and it was cool. Like when Captain, geez, what's her name? Captain Britain. I don't know. Yeah, Haley Atwell's character when she got cut in half with the shield.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. Actually,
that was awesome. Their version of Captain Marvel died kind of lame, like a statue fell on her. Mr. Fantastic getting shredded into silly string, like that was there were some really cool visuals, but it's just amazing. Like the part that I thought was going to be like the big like, oh shit, like this is who she is moment wasn't as big as what I thought.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel the same way. But and also it's impossible for me to take a character seriously who dies as silly string in any universe.
That's a fair point. I take the butt plug fight scene more seriously and everything everywhere all at once.
There's no universe where Adam Sandler's character in Uncut Gems dies as silly string. He's just going to die in other cool
Now,
stories.
I will say, if it did end with him getting, like, if his uncle, like, shredding him a silly string in that pawn shop, like, that would have been weird. And then Kevin Garnett walks in, he's like, what the fuck is this silly string Adam Sandler? That because Scarlet Witch in this multiverse? I mean, this is a bonus episode, so I don't really feel like there's anything else to go into. I mean, it's on Disney Plus.
No, I just really
I
really wanted to cover it because here's the thing. Not only did I enjoy it, and you know, we like talking about stuff we enjoy with you guys, but like also it just feels like I hear horror fans struggle sometimes to fight for Dracula Untold, for example.
Right.
This movie's more horror than Dracula Untold.
I will say,
right? Yeah. That's the thing. And I'm not going to overdo the horror. It's not scary. Like I'm not going to overdo the whatever. Although, I mean, if you're 8, you're watching
this. No, that's funny you said that because there was a lot of people on Twitter who were like, they should have said that this was a horror movie. There were so many scary images in there.
Interesting. I mean, to us, obviously, it wouldn't be. We watch a lot of horror movies, but
right.
We're not going to run from the theater from fucking Doctor Strange. But it had more horror imagery, horror vibes, and then it was dealing with some darker themed stuff, even though it's basically a comic movie, that kind of puts it in that realm to me more than Dracula Untold. Dracula Untold is an action movie pretending to be a horror movie, basically. Right? And this is not that. This is more horror than people were giving it credit for, but it's in the bones.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. It's a Doctor Strange movie. It's weird,
let us know
scary.
what you think of it from not only the horror fan perspective, but also if you would. I'm always interested to see the people who are in the same lane as us. So, like, if you put it off for a while, because we just watched it. I mean, it's been out forever.
Yeah, I didn't
like if you were putting it off for a while and then you recently came to it. I'd love to hear how you took it. You know.
Well, you know how I'd love to hear how they watched the movie.
Oh.
Through a 5-star review on iTunes.
That's another good way.
You got to do it. In fact, if you
is there a universe where you haven't reviewed us yet? Rectify that in this universe.
Yes. And then it'll have that.
It'll balance.
It'll have that ripple effect, and then it'll bleed into other multiverses, and other yous will be listening to this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
and they'll appreciate what you're doing. And
there's a multiverse where we have like 1 billion iTunes reviews.
Oh my god, that's true.
And as
this universe?
No,
in this universe we have 51.
Yeah. How did you know it was 51? Did you look at it recently?
I did.
Well, no, you didn't because holy shit, we're at 52.
Not that recently.
We're at 52. Rock and roll. All right.
roll.
Well, one of you in
comes
this universe is going to be 53,
Yep.
and that's kind of awesome. There's only one 53.
No, we have a lot of appreciation for you, 53, in this universe.
Yeah,
whatever your name is.
Whoever.
We're just gonna call you 53.
That's kind of awesome. Hello, 53.
Hello, 53.
From the future.
Like to meet you, 53.
That's kind of weird. We are talking to whoever reviews it and is 53. We're technically having a conversation with them now. So it's sort of like we just did an episode that's going to go. We're probably going to release Crimes of the Future tomorrow. And then probably this over the, like, I don't know, whenever, because it's a bonus episode. But like, instead of Crimes from the Future, Conversations from the Future. So hello, 53.
Hello, 53.
Great weather we're having today, ain't it? Wherever you're from. Yeah, lunch was great. I'm stuffed. I don't know what else could they possibly be doing while they're reviewing. Oh, this traffic's gonna clear up in no time. You're in good hands, 53. That feels like some video game shit.
It does.
What else could we? 53.
You're
gonna have a good. I'm gonna leave it with the traffic because that's what that. If I was 53, that's what I want to hear. Is there's gonna be no traffic.
Agreed. That's a good feeling.
All right. Well, until next time, stay scary. Watch a bunch of horror movies. We'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.